Yeah, I think we'll start the session. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. We see a lot of people joining, a lot of architects in the attendee list. Uh, I'm Shankar. I'll be your host for today's session. Before talking about today's webinar, I just wanted to put out a couple of facts in front of you to know how important BIM is for CAD users, specifically in the 2D world. Did you know that BIM adoption has helped a lot of architects reduce errors by up to 30%, and they've improved their project timelines by 25%. I mean, this is so much big number for specifically for all architects working in India. So we at Nemetschek, we think that architects needs tools that go beyond 2D designs, to meet the project demands. I mean, not simple project demands, the modern project demands. So we thought we'll come up with Masterclass, some sessions where we can help the architectural community to navigate from 2D to 3D, which has BIM enablement in their workflows. So across the life cycle, you have collaboration with even with your customers. So diving down to the session, so I just wanted to introduce our speaker today. Uh, Mansi is an architect herself. She's been working in the industry for more than 16 years. She's a seasoned BIM and VDC professional, a very keen technologist, enabling all the AECO stakeholders, leveraging technology and reaping benefits from concept to commissioning. She has successfully implemented digital concepts like BIM, 5D, earned value management, and paperless sites for AECO stakeholders. So there will be a lot of insights Mansi will be throwing out today. I sincerely believe that it'll provide a lot of help to all of you in your daily workflows, in daily management. So Mansi, over to you.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shankar. And hello, everyone. A warm good afternoon to all of you. And let me deep dive into the agenda for today. So, today we'll be talking about this workflow that you see on screen exactly. I'll take 45 minutes of yours and then we'll open the forum for queries and uh, answers session. And in the interest of time, I would ask everyone to just drop your queries onto the chat box, if any. And we'll also have it interactive with polls during these 45 minutes. So let's begin. We'll also talk about, like I said, we'll talk about a workflow today, starting from 2D drawings, because all said and done, we still are very much dependent on 2D for the non-BIM consultants, for your vendors, for certain authorities who are still working on 2D, and how that bidirectional data flow will happen to ArchiCAD, to Bluebeam, and to Solibri. So it will be a session packed with all this information live. So let's check out and begin with this workflow. So to give you more insights on the interoperability, like I said, we'll start off with a drawing file which goes into ArchiCAD. It comes back to the CAD environment through translators. And then this smart BIM authoring tool will push the data in terms of 2D PDFs and 3D PDFs to Bluebeam, which is again a collaboration tool. And then we'll also push it to Solibri for all the automated design checks that you can do once all this information is flowing seamlessly from a CAD drawing to PDF, back to a BIM authoring tool, and then it goes and comes back to Solibri as well. So all this tools from Nemetschek Kitty are having bidirectional interoperability with the popular tool, drawing tool, and we'll see how exactly this workflow is shortly. So let's begin. So we have a blank ArchiCAD instance for you. Let me show the simplest method of drag and drop. Clearly, I don't have AutoCAD with me, hence the format is seen as .dwg. I'm dragging it. We can place it simply to the point and it's asking for units. So don't forget to add units. So let me select meter, meter here, and then we can simply place the instance. Now we can go ahead and drag that instance to be placed at a proper origin point, or we can define the coordinates. Let me pick one and let me place it to the default origin of ArchiCAD in this instance. So this was the simplest method, and now I can start drafting by picking the ArchiCAD wall tools. I'm picking the simplest generic wall, and you can always start drafting or mapping the same CAD instance with all the beautiful tools in ArchiCAD like walls, doors, windows, staircases, and so on. So once we have this method here, we can see that it also has a drawing space. So let me take this pet palette here and I'll try to expand the drawing space of this particular CAD instance. Now, why is this important? While I'm editing this drawing space, whenever I take something as a reference for modeling or drafting, this pet palette allows me to expand, edit this instance with the drawing or the paper area, what we call it, so that whenever I move this reference, I will always get the extents of this particular drawing defined as per my drafting requirements. So let me just edit this. We are doing an offset now, and I'm also cutting it so that it maps with my exact structure plan or structure elevation. So now if I select this particular drawing instance and I can deduct, like I added a particular portion in the drawing space, I can also deduct a part of this drawing space for ease of working, so that when I have my paper space defined from the instance, I will know exactly how to add or attach these frames when I want to bring in some new references after this. So once I have this drawing reference with the proper drafting and paper space, and now once I have this ready with the paper pet palette, I can simply drag this instance and you will see that the walls that I drafted just remain there. So do you see, when I'm trying to move this CAD instance, it is still within the limits of the drawing or the paper space that we selected, and the walls are just remain there. So we have a blank ArchiCAD instance. Let's delete these instance and let's look at the second and third method. We'll go to the external content. We'll simply place an external drawing with the native file formats or file format, that is CAD, and it will prompt units again, and we'll just bring in the native units and the settings from CAD and place the drawing just by clicking on the model space. So this particular instance will bring in all the native format and units, and this is another method to just bring the instant and start modeling. So let's look at the third method, a little intelligent one, that is XREF. So as the name suggests, I can attach a XREF here, and please remember that this particular method will allow me to seamlessly model a particular with a reference, particular reference, because of the changes and revisions. So for example, if someone is changing anything in the CAD instance, when I XREF it, I can reattach and reload the same drawing and still continue with the modeling by along with the changes that parallelly may are happening in the 2D environment by some vendors who are not on the BIM path. So we have bought in okay, we'll bring in a file again. We can check which particular drawing we want to XREF here. So we'll pick a drawing here. I'm sure most of you would be aware of the two types of XREFs, that is attachment and overlay, wherein it exactly works same as in 2D as in ArchiCAD also. And once we have our XREF here, we can further specify whether we want to align this particular file with certain origin, or we want to specify XY coordinates, we want to scale some coordinates or rotate a particular CAD instance, or we can simply specify the anchoring and the bounding box nodes also. Meaning I can specify when the CAD instance changes, from which point exactly is this going to change the instance. So bounding node or drawing's own origin will allow me to change these settings for my drawing. So when I try to bring in, I'm going to check which level or which story I'm going to place this instance. I'll stick with the default setting of translator, which is editable import. And once we have checked all the parameters here, the bounding nodes, the merging file origins, or whether let's take it with drawing's own origin to just check out this method. And I will attach this particular drawing. Again, it's going to prompt along with units the layers also, which I can bring in from CAD to ArchiCAD. So let's take the layers as well, and here is our drawing. So if I select this particular drawing now, it will come as polylines or everything is selected, not like the other instances which you saw in the first and the second method. So if I select something and zoom in, you'll see that every line is selected as a polyline, and I cannot delete these instances. Like the earlier instances, you saw me deleting while moving to the next methods, but this particular xref, I cannot delete it just like that. So if I hit delete, nothing happens. The instance is kind of locked. See this, so I cannot delete this instance, but when I start working on this, I can simplify my workflow, because if anything changes in my 2D environment, it's going to reflect here very quickly. So that is another benefit of not able to delete and lock. So let's also check out the xref manager while along with this polylines and the instance that has came in here. So like I said, once this instance is here, we can load multiple instances, and we can go to the xref manager here, wherein you can see which particular instance is right now loaded. I can reload, unload, bind the multiple instances later if I want to. I can set my translators here, and this is the simplest way of bringing in the layers also, which were missing in the earlier method. So there you go, these were all three types of different methods to bring in CAD seamlessly into ArchiCAD and start modeling or create revisions while you go. So let's see the sizing as well. Then further, let's also see how this file can be used to resize. I'm back in my CAD environment, and within CAD environment, I'm selecting a reference dimension for me to resize or rescale or check my instance is correct. Don't forget to close the CAD file before I am bringing it to ArchiCAD. So I hit interoperability here. Then I'm merging the file, the CAD file that I'm selecting here. I am merging it. Let's hit open. Again, it will ask me to merge or append. Let's merge this with default settings. Let me place it to the origin point with default XREF layers. And you will see that this is not a very scaled or correct, accurate drawing instance that has came in. Now, how to scale this? Let's see that also. So we are going to use the same reference which we had referred or picked in our CAD environment. So let me first select everything or Control A, and let's ungroup this. This is a very important step because you can use Alt G or ungroup simply, but it's very important to suspend all the groups which are coming from the native format. So let's go to reshape command under grouping, under file format, reshape, resize. I have the scales here, and then I'll pick reference point 1 to reference point 2. And then I have to give the dimension prompt, that is 5 meters in my drawing. So I'll try and add same. I'm adding 5000 mm, or you can simply type 5 meters. And there we go. So now let's check if our file is correct. So from my drawing, let's select measurement or dimension tab to verify the same. Yeah, that's right. There you go. So this is how seamlessly you can bring in the files. So let's learn to export ArchiCAD plans and sections to DWG formats using this model. This is done with help of translators. So let me show you some views here, which I already have. So I can create multiple views like these depending on the stories you want to export. So this is a floor plan of one story, meaning level. Let me show you the 3D model of this as well. So this is a 3D model. Over here, there are views. If I double click, I'll go back to the floor plan. So let's navigate through the 3D model. 1, 2, and 3 are my levels. And I came back to the plan. So if I double click on any of these views, like the 3 stories, 3 floor plans are here, 6.71 to 6.73. I double click and open the third level floor. Let me see the zoom only mode for this particular layout. If that's right, I go back, I go to view settings, current zoom, say okay. Each view has its layers, and let's go to layer combinations of for the flow plan, as there could be many other layers we may not want to export now. ArchiCAD is stunning with layer management. So these are the layer combinations that you will see. And let me select one for plans to be exported. But why do we export in first place when we model and make drawings at one place? Because we allow vendors to and non-BIM professionals to use this data for various construction demands, as they don't use teamwork or cloud or any other intelligent tools. Examples could be your elevator vendor, equipment vendor, or building material vendors, who want to use this data in the form of 2D drawing or PDFs. So let's check the staircase also first, and then we'll take out the flow plans and the critical sections for all the other non-BIM people to use this data. So let me go to a flow plan. Let me check a particular staircase. Yeah, that's going from the ground to up, first level. Yeah, that's level. The level is right. Uh, I'll go to the view settings again of this particular view. I was in, yeah, 6.73. Entire model for structural display. Yeah, the plan is right. The model view options are right. It should be plans, the one that we selected, and let's hit OK. So typically for a staircase, why I checked is there are two lines when we see it in 3D, one dotted and one firm, but I made it simple in my layer combinations as one single line when it gets exported to AutoCAD, something like this. The one you see in pink should be seen in my CAD extract. So now we'll go to the translators. So under navigator in my organizer, I am going to the navigator, and then I simply go to translators to check the translators. So before that, I come to this publisher set wherein I see all the DWGs here. This is my layout editor. This is my publisher. I select a one for DWG. These are ones which I had tried before. So let me delete this for you, and let's create from scratch how exactly these views are published for 2D. And we'll also see the translators in a while. So let me create one from scratch. We'll name it DG. While we are creating it for all three stories, these are simple drag and drop. So from publisher, I am dragging and dropping the three design layouts into the DG publisher folder that we created. We are giving a name for each floor if we want to change it. So simply if I change it in ArchiCAD design layout organizer, you will see it changes for the DG set of 2D drawings also. Automatically it will change the same, and it will update it to the DWG shortcut as well. So now we'll export the sections also in a similar manner. So this was for the flow plans. Let's do it for sections. So we'll go back to our organizer. We'll go to the section views. We'll select our sections that we want to export. And in the organizer again, I have my layout views. You can see here in publisher, I have a section A. And further, when I have selected these formats, which are DWG again, so I made sure these all four design layouts as plan and sections are selected as drawing format for extracting it to 2D. And let me then go and check the view settings, and then we'll check the translators also. So let me see, all the layouts are here. The format is right. Yeah, here we have our translators from the layout settings. So typically we can duplicate the existing ones that are there for you from the default template of ArchiCAD, or we can simply create a new one depending on our needs. So first let's see duplicating one by renaming it to say A22 plan. We rename it. In settings I can change some attributes of same as well. So attributes regarding to the saving options, the open options, and how my layer combinations would be. So this is a one way wherein I can create this, but let me create one from scratch for you as well. So let me delete this, the one that we just duplicated. I'm deleting it. And then let's create one translator from scratch, in which we will see the attribute settings also, we'll see the layer combinations that we want to export, and you will actually see how easy it is to set up the translators within ArchiCAD for a good quality export. So I'm physically saving a file A22 plan, which is a template file, as well as now in settings and attributes I'm changing it. What version do I want to save it for? AutoCAD drawing file formats, what template files it should be, if it converts to the images, what it should be, saving layouts for which blocks. We go back to the saving options, file options, and the important thing then would be to change the attributes. So once I have the drawing units in place, we are selecting the units again, which are 1:10 typically when it goes from ArchiCAD to a drawing file format. So please don't miss this step to save, give the working units in ArchiCAD within the translator. So after this important step, we'll go back to our settings and attributes. So before that, so when we go to attributes, it's all about your layers, your layer combinations, name of the layers, line types, and fills. So let's go to layers first. Let me select typical layers that I want to have when my element is going to CAD. So for example, doors, windows, DW or WI are typical names that I will pick for. I can go back to one of the CAD files and also check, if I want a particular list to come in here, I can bring in the source file here and map my layers one by one. It could be the zones, it could be certain layer names that we want to customize. We can actually define where each element goes back to the drawing. So again, I'm giving say Z, zone information ZA. Yeah, AN. AN would be fine. AN, yeah, zone backgrounds also have selected. Then let me open a CAD file for you wherein I can actually check the list of layers or the nomenclature that I want to follow for a particular line or a particular format while actually checking my translator. So from this is the list, a clean list you will see for a typical CAD file, which we can always add or duplicate or delete and really play with these layer name combinations. So for ArchiCAD side, this is how the layers are placed along with the nomenclature. So let's try and create one under the same DG or DWG publisher that we had created just a minute ago. And let's create one for the DG side. I have the layers, we can add multiple as you want. And again, in the combination, we can decide which finish we have to pick. We are customizing the layers. So basically, we are specifying which layer goes exactly where with the nomenclature and how the drawing is to be symbolized when we open it back in CAD. Okay, now we are in pen color conversion. So the conversion table, we can also customize these, or we can simply use the default one. Similarly is with my ArchiCAD settings for the color RGB, I'll keep it default. And let's also check for the line weights again. So when we go for line weight settings, once I have done the RNG for the layers, I'll go to pen color conversions, sorry, and then to the line type method. So again, in line type methods, we'll use the default one. For fills, let's add some fills, solid fills, and check couple of hatch patterns that you can see so that you can get an idea of how the fill charts look like and how the fill conversions look like. So under fill hatch patterns, we added one for solid, a solid hatch type. We select a pattern, we name it, okay. We can give the scale, hatch scale also here. Let's add one more for the slant one, or let's pick vertical. Again, the scale is given, the full hatch patterns are given. In miscellaneous, you can see, or certain font styles before we go on to, really exporting the translator. Let's pick some font style also here quickly. So font style, typically, we'll pick the default one again here, and let's say proceed anyway. So all our 4 layouts, design layouts, are published into the DG folder set that we created. We are, yeah, this folder I'm creating, and we'll push it to the CAD file format, and let's see how it looks there back into our CAD environment. So once I have the model, I have my layouts in place, I have checked the translators, the attributes, the published set of the same, and this is how it comes exactly into the CAD format. The one section layout that we selected and the 3-4 drawing layouts that we had selected. So it is one tab each within the same CAD file with the different all 4 layouts as 4 different files. So we are simply switching and checking the layers as well. So the same list of layers is bought, and congratulations, the backward integrations is exactly how this works. Now, moving forward, once we have seen the connection from 2D to 3D and back, we also have Bluebeam, which is purely for PDFs. So the ArchiCAD and Bluebeam connection provides direct access to the features that are most commonly used during the design review. Okay, it's the poll time.
Okay. So I'll push the first one. First question for everyone. So what is the biggest hurdle in moving from CAD to BIM? So please do submit your responses. I think a couple of facts I came across while getting this poll done is there was a study done by McGraw Construction where they found that 71% construction professionals reported improved communication and coordination through BIM. So that's it. That's a very good data. And similarly, there was one more study done by Stanford where they said that BIM enabled architects to explore more range of design options and iterate designs more effectively using BIM. I think that's another superb data convincing that all the designs or workflows to be done on BIM.
Absolutely.
So, got getting good responses. 10 seconds more for the poll. Please do record your answers here. Five seconds. So we are keeping the poll live. So whenever you feel to answer, you can always answer. So Mansi, go ahead.
Sure. So let's check out the next part, which is ArchiCAD. So till now, we have seen all the bidirectional flow between ArchiCAD and the 2D environment. Now we are pushing the ArchiCAD information to PDF, bringing back the markups. So we'll quickly see that. Now let's check ArchiCAD and Bluebeam connection. ArchiCAD connection provides direct access to the features that are most commonly used during the design review process. Architects can design and build on their projects in ArchiCAD. Once ready, they can publish 2D PDFs and 3D PDFs for smooth collaboration. So within ArchiCAD, the same files can be translated to Bluebeam. So right now in ArchiCAD, we are publishing a set of drawings as PDFs. We are selecting a particular folder to publish. All the layouts are being published to Bluebeam one by one. So once all the drawings, plans, sections are being published to Bluebeam, we'll switch to the Bluebeam interface to see how this works. So in Bluebeam, same files are opened in Bluebeam Review, and each team can mark up in real time with a proper color coding for their issues. So this color coding can happen for each discipline with their unique tool chest icons. So different stakeholders can decide to mark up and review the same documents at a time with color codes via Bluebeam Studio sessions. So once the markups are placed, we can see a list of the markups and issues for the same drawings, wherein all markups can be accurately tracked and we can push it back to the native file format. So back to ArchiCAD, we can see exactly with Bluebeam connection the same markups which we have saved from Bluebeam Review. We are bringing it back to the ArchiCAD import. So once we import, you will see the same blue and red markups with those same data onto the ArchiCAD exactly at the same position. And this can be used by multiple stakeholders at a time. Inside ArchiCAD also, there is a issue manager wherein I can then mark the owner of that particular issue, and then I can save that issue for priorities, for a date stamp, for the frequency, how this issue is to be tracked, who is to resolve it, and then create my record here itself. Once I make this issue organizer within ArchiCAD for the markups, this process can continue for all the revisions that we have to do. Once the revisions and all the issues are saved in ArchiCAD, we can then go back to the Bluebeam connection, which is directly linked. So I'm not opening different formats separately. I will open the published drawing layouts into Bluebeam with this same revisions inside Bluebeam Review. So now that we have all our information in 3D and 2D, let's see how we can review it on our mobiles also. So this is exactly how my mobile interface or web application will look. I'll have these kind of tabs. I just click on it, say 2D, and wherever the 2D drawing is referenced in 3D, the mobile application will allow me to toggle between 3D and between 2D, so that there is no need to cross-reference my 3D and 2D data. But on my mobile, with few clicks and pre-settings, I can simply toggle between the drawing and view constantly, so that we are switching and checking whether I have my information right in 3D as well as on the 2D detailed drawings also. So this is an example of section wherein if I click on a 2D section, it is going to take me exactly where this section was cut into a 3D model, and I can review it, I can toggle it, I can flip the section plane, go back to my 3D environment, flip it, and really review it and take the decisions faster while on site. And this site application on mobile or on tabs can allow certain level of offline working as well. So we saw all this workflow again, right? Starting from 2D to ArchiCAD, back to 2D, and then pushing the bidirectional PDFs for markups and seamless collaboration. And all we need to do is within ArchiCAD, we need to set up good views, check our translators and export settings. We need to check the attributes and layer settings, which is very familiar how we do it on our CAD environment also, and then export the plans and sections as and when necessary for 2D working or for PDF collaboration also. Now, once all this workflow is set up, we move on to the next segment, that is automated design checks. But I think there is again a poll now, Shankar.
Yes, I think we are ready for the second poll here.
Wow.
Coming up on your screens.
Eh?
What benefit do you expect from most from transitioning to BIM? Yeah. Hope everyone is able to see the poll question. What benefit do you expect the most from transitioning to BIM? I think it is always important to make a data-driven decision making. I think one study from McKinsey also says that data-driven decision making facilitated by BIM can lead to significant cost savings and improved project outcomes. So again, there's a lot
Certainly,
of
that's the biggest benefit. Yeah.
So 10 seconds more. We'd want to answer on this question poll. Okay, so Mansi, go ahead.
So we will go to our next segment and the last segment of today's webinar, that is automated design checks with Solibri. So what exactly is Solibri tool? It is not a BIM authoring tool, but it is a BIM model checker. It is a reviewer. The tool is called Solibri Office, and it will help me check my models with certain set of rules and logic for area considerations, for bylaws, for design coordination, for design checking, even for digital data handover, and even for certain constructability checks along with my green rating as well. So who all can use this kind of a tool? All of the stakeholders, architect, engineers, the contractor, the owner, or even the non-BIM and BIM designations can use Solibri to review, to extract information, to slice dice the model, and even a set of ESG managers, sustainability designers who are concerned with bylaws and green rating, they can also explore Solibri for checking the model, which comes in multiple file formats. Having said that, Solibri is able to federate a model with multiple file formats with more than 60 plus logics, and we can create 200 plus rules for the automated checks to be performed. So the workflow is we have a federated model in Solibri for reviewing, for slicing and dicing. Then we have a set of logics and rules which can automatically flag certain errors or certain problems in the model, and those are related to the quantities, area considerations, bylaws, and green checks. And it also has an integration with the popular tools like Trimble integration or BIM 360. And I can also fetch 50 plus file formats to federate within Solibri for this automated checking. Solibri can also have integration for fetching the data, IFC data, with the common data environments like Econex, Catenda, BuildSync, and so on. So how exactly this works? So there are different models coming in with different file formats, be it for spacing, for areas, architecture, structure, MEP, everything gets integrated into one file. And then the checks are performed even for clashes, for design checks. The issues are flagged, the reports are generated, or the issues are sent to the native BIM authoring tools. A coordination report can be populated, and then after improvising the model, a final model is generated for digital handover. So this is an example of how a federated model works. There could be different files coming in from different file formats. This is exactly how Solibri understands the discipline as well. So right, with the application and the discipline is correlated. So be it coming from any file format, Solibri takes in the IFC file. So IFC file, and then it segregates it into a category or discipline. And then with these kind of logics, we can check the model. So to help you understand how the 60 plus or 200 logics and rule sets are created, this is an example from our very own bylaws, wherein for specially able people, we need these kind of clearances to move around, like 920 being the opening and 1100 being the circulation area, and 1:20 as a default or minimum slope for all the models. So once all these models come into Solibri, it is going to run a check. Like you see on left hand side, it is running a check, and it is flagging with certain colors of red, orange, and yellow. And it is also showing me exactly in the model along with dimensions. It is flagging and showing me where exactly these particular rules are not followed. So this is mainly just one logic inside Solibri. So we can generate and we can run as many as checks as required for designing, for bylaws, as well as for the constructability issues. And to give you a very basic example of our doors, be it any BIM authoring tool today, the doors are always in 2D, in 3D, sorry, and the leaf of that door is always in 2D. But the requirement of checking goes as detailed as checking the clear floor space, like you see on the left hand side, be it for the specially able toilets or for the fire escape doors. So Solibri is able to understand the circulation or the clear floor space, and it can flag whatever component is coming between these doors or this circulation lines very well. So this kind of intelligence and flagging design checks is very much built in inside Solibri. All we have to do is toggle the editable parameters and identify the classifications we need for running these kind of smarter checks. And I can not only use this for my design checks, but even for certain constructability issues. For example, if firefighting information is captured in my model or not, basics. So on the left hand side, I see a long list of all the rules, and there is a image which tells you how I can classify my model, whether the information is captured or not. For example, if my model is having the necessary fire rating or not. For example, the color in red has to specify that 1.5 hours is the fire rating for walls. The yellow one indicate 30 minutes, and there are gray highlighted walls which are not having any kind of classification or fire rating information. So this is how the designers can check the models even while the model is getting ready for all the fire norms as well. And as you see on the left hand side, the list is very long for coordination, for accessibility rules, everything that you name, for your area calculations, for parking rules, for certain components which are clashing, or certain coverages that are required for installation of certain elements. All these kind of checks can be performed very efficiently in Solibri Office. So this is one example of how the checking happens. Like on the left hand side, you can see the checking part, and simply I can right click and show you one rule wherein a component is selected. There is a target component, there is a end target component, which is the terminal. I can specify the distance, I can select the door swing, and it is going to allow me to, edit all these parameters of a rule set or logic to run the kind of checks and the outputs that we just saw. And we simply hit check the model, and a result and a summary along with images pops up very quickly. And this kind of a result or a summary pops up, which can be extracted into Excel, PDF, or if there are BCF kind of live integrations available. Most of you must be aware of all the intelligent communication platforms, and the industry standard is BCF file format. So no matter which authoring tool you're working with, you can always push this information. The snapshot that you see on the right hand side will push all the information with issues live onto the authoring tool. So there won't be there is a traditional process of taking Excel files, PDF files, having a design review workshop wherein all the ping pong happens, and then the model gets updated, and by that time site timelines are pushed already. So to avoid all that hassle, there is an option of BCF live issues collaboration as well. And while doing all this, Graphisoft ArchiCAD still remains the centerpiece because a lot of our clients have already invested into Microsoft Power Automate. So the whole process of extracting IFCs, checking it in Solibri, pushing the BCF reports, and then editing my model in ArchiCAD. So just to have it quicker, there is an automated workflow with all these tools available with Power Automate, which will at least save my time in extracting files, sending it to a tool, and then having a report to actually take design decisions. So now we are at the end of our webinar, and before we open the forum for Q&A, we'll take one more poll, and I'll keep this particular scan open if any of you want to reach us out for any of your queries and further engagements. So maybe I'll leave this for a couple of seconds and we'll have another poll, and then we'll open the forum for Q&A. Yep.
Yes. The next poll is coming up. So here's something asking about your customers. So your client wants to understand the cost implications of a design change in real time. So what would you do? So this is something, again, that we feel is very important for all architects. So I'm throwing a couple of more facts at you. So there was one research done by Punch Consulting. So what in their research, when they tried to understand the impact of design changes on construction projects, they found out that the projects are experiencing, the costs increase as high as 40%. It's too much. I mean, country like India, I think this is something which we need to regulate. And there is one more research done by Standish Group. The research itself called as Chaos Manifesto. So, and of course, this is primarily focused on IT project, but they still included construction in their research. And they say that there is significant cost rise and impacts of late stage changes in any complex project. So now I think you believe the importance of BIM. Okay, we're getting an input. So it's 80% use BIM to generate update cost instantly. Wow, that's a So please give your responses. 10 seconds more for this poll. Okay. We're done with the polls now. So any questions?
Oh, nice.
So let's see.
So they are in Q&A or chat.
I'm just checking in the chat. Okay, Sonika is saying, missed the first half of the presentations. Will the recording be shared? Yes, we will share the recording. So we'll host the recording live on our YouTube channel. So please do follow the subscribe to our YouTube channel. So we'll be updating all the webinars and sessions on our YouTube channel. So many of you did not see the poll questions. Okay. Okay, extreme apologies for the technical glitch. Probably we'll find out what happened. But however, I think we'll send you the poll questions as well. So after this webinar, so you can always answer the questions. So any questions for this session? Okay. Okay. So I think we have 6 minutes left for this meeting. So any questions are most welcome. So please raise your hand. We'll give you the access to the mic. So can you ask your questions or put it in the chat box? Shubham. Yeah, Shubham. Just a second. I'm giving the access to. Yeah. Yeah, Shubham. You can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yes, I'm audible now.
Yes, you're on.
Okay, thank you. My question related to with Solibri. Can
Okay.
we like which format we can insert from ArchiCAD to Solibri? And
It
that
is
will be
IFC.
the yeah, sorry.
Sorry, it's IFC file format.
So it means it's that will be not a hyperlink like that.
No, it directly opens a IFC model into Solibri.
Okay, if you have some changes in ArchiCAD, then again export IFC model and insert it in Solibri.
Yes.
Hmm. Okay.
We can automate the process so that you can compare the versions also.
Mhm. Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Any more questions? You also have the option to send us the questions. So I'll type in my email ID along with Mans. If you can also type in your email ID in the chat box. So you can always send in your
Sure.
queries, questions on this.
Done.
So before we log off, we would like to get your feedback. So I've just put out another poll for asking you the question. So how effective was today's webinar? Please do give your feedback so that we can come up with much better content every time. Yeah. In between, if anybody has any questions, please do feel free to put it in chat box. We still have another 2 minutes left. You can always share your feedback on email as well. The idea is to bring in more and more content which will be helpful to all of you. And please do follow our social media and YouTube channels so that you have access to all updates, all happenings from Nemetschek India. We have a lot of sessions planned for the next year as well. If anyone is looking for any training or certification, please do reach out. One more minute. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the webinar. We'll follow up with an email to the recording and all the questions and polls we just put out in this webinar. We'll reach out to you. Thank you so much. You can always post your queries in email or through chat. The chat is open. So thank you so much for joining in. And thank you so much, Mansi, for the impressive, it's a very impressive presentation, and we'll be looking forward to more, definitely. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care and Happy New Year.